Well, thanks, guys, for joining us on Small Towns Unscripted. Mary and Dave Weldy.
Yeah,
I
good
love
to be
it.
here.
Man, you guys are you're a staple. Your store's still going strong, but I'm anxious to hear about the story and how you thought about it, where you originated the idea, and where you came from. And this is Nicole Turner. I'm
Yes,
Russ McClellan, so welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have you guys seen any of our episodes by chance?
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw one recently in the barber shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And I'll talk to you afterwards on how to get connected and hooked up so we can watch a bunch of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, we'll share it
Yeah.
with you. So, anyway, you guys you were the founder of ultimately the Culinary Apple, right?
Yes.
And there's a whole story on how you got that name. I read
Right.
some of your material you gave me, so thank you for that. And I'm humbled that you're here. And but why don't we start? I just kind of like to know where your family's from. Where were you from? Just to kind of get that whole connection into Chelan, but start from maybe your parents or grandparents.
Okay, I was born in Alameda, California, and my parents moved south and bought a new home in Los Altos. So I grew up in Los Altos, California, and met Dave when I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh.
I was almost 16,
Yeah.
and we've been together since.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was born in New York. I was actually born illegitimate, given away at birth, and no birth certificate for 10 years of my life. So
Wow.
1949 and 59, well, these people took me from New York to California, Southern California. They passed away, and I got picked up by an uncle that he discovered that I didn't have a birth certificate, and they didn't know where I came from. And he adopted me at 59, George and Laura Weldy, and that's how I got to Mountain View, California. Got into some problems because I was, bounced around. Streetwise, really into some serious problems. But I had to be split away from this bad group of people and went to a high school where Mary was. And of course,
wow.
I met a little Baptist girl, and she straightened me out.
The complete opposite. You needed that.
Yeah. And when we finally decided we were going to get married, I had a probation officer and everything. I had to be put in the military at 17.
Wow.
So I did get out of high school, went in the military, it straightened me out, got married while we were in the military, and at 21 I got my record sealed. And then, the rest is history. I've been with her ever since,
Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah, and it's always good to hear when there's so many kids that are given disadvantages right out of the gates, and all they know is trouble and their parents' trouble, and it's always cool to hear that, and it's hopeful for other people that are, especially young men and women right now that are struggling.
Yeah.
There's that never ends, right? And
No.
it's cool to tell that story openly because, first of all, I always say that, grace, forgiveness, and generosity should be a part of your business plan, and forgiveness of yourself, especially as a young guy, right? You're just, a product
Yeah.
of your environment often, and bad choices come with that. So
Making the right choices and being around the right people and having the opportunity to have a mentorship. Her dad was a mentor to me, and of course George Weldy. I still call him my dad, George, but he was a good mentor. And then I had some lucky breaks, that allowed me to get to find my way out of being a mechanic and getting into finding my way into sales, and got good at it, and given some lucky breaks. And
were you in that? So when you were in the military, that would have been.
I was
1966.
1966. I went into the military
Vietnam.
right out of high school.
Yeah, that's right in the middle of Vietnam.
Yeah, right in the middle of
Were you
Vietnam.
in just the Army or what?
Navy.
Navy?
Made 2 Westpacks over there, and then a 1 med cruise. And it straightened me out. There's no question about it. A lot of discipline, and I was a jet mechanic, so I was a plane captain on the flight deck. So it was fun to do all that. I really learned a lot.
My son just went to the Marine Corps.
Oh, good.
And then he went in as a reconnaissance, signed it to go into reconnaissance. Then he ended up getting hurt, and then he ended up in the aviation wing.
Oh,
So he became he retired after 5 years as a sergeant, but he was a crew member in the V-22 Osprey Eagle Eye Squadron.
Oh, nice.
And then he was on the USS Boxer overseas, and fortunately didn't have any combat really. I mean, a little couple of things, but yeah, he came out, and now he works with us in excavation on our development side. And
That's great.
we just bought a house. In fact, we bought Dwayne Hubbard's place that he had passed away, and so there was 2 lots there and 2 homes. So we're now side by side, about a quarter mile from where I grew up.
Oh,
So
that's
we're
awesome.
moving at
Great.
the end of the month. So
That's
yeah.
great.
That's great.
I was just telling him that off camera.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How special it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it's,
is.
it's pretty
very
interesting. I didn't think it would happen. You know, Manson's a tough place to get into financially, but it just worked out. And the fact that he's a good man and he's got married, and so it's fun to have a compound. And
That is
Very
neat.
cool.
Yeah.
you know, he worked a lot with my dad growing up, and then that helped him get into the Marine Corps, and
Yeah.
the Marine Corps helped him. You know, just kind of grew up. And he's a good man now. He's
I
almost.
think I met your mom at
Patty.
Yeah, Pat.
Right?
She was at Seafirst Bank.
Yep, 25 years at Seafirst.
Yeah, that's
Bank.
right.
She was our banker.
She always, yeah, she was our banker. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you said that Patty straightened you out. My mom, Patty, straightened my dad out. he was drafted into Korea. And,
Oh.
and then my mom, I remember, I think he was a little older, so my mom's sister, Georgia, he was giving her a ride home, and their younger sister, my mom, was in the back seat when they were in high school. She graduated in 1956, and she was the Apple Blossom Princess.
Oh, yeah.
My dad was that guy that was 5 years older. That her dad probably was like, "Hey, what?" But my mom said, "Donnie, you're gonna have to stop drinking that beer if you're gonna date me." And I don't know if he stopped, but he throttled it back a little bit. But,
She was she is a great
she passed
person.
away in 2021, and
Okay.
my dad passed away in 2020. But they were married 63 years, and I was very,
That's
very,
great.
very lucky and blessed. And so, yeah, it was fun to be able to work with them for so long, and so many different things we did together, and just kind of did
great.
life together. So I was very lucky. Yeah. So let's fast forward. So you're in California. You're in high school.
Mm-hmm.
You get straightened out by her in the Marine or the Navy,
Yeah.
and you probably told him happy wife, happy life, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I think he just knew that.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think she had to say it.
So did you guys go to college together too, or did you just go to work together?
No, she graduated out of Awalt High School, got married with me. And then I got out of the Navy, and a friend of mine, I was working for Mack Trucks in the actual Mack plant.
Wow.
Actually went there to apply for a assembly line union job, and I was clean cut, squared away, and here's the lucky break. I fill out the application. It says, have you ever had a felony or misdemeanor? And I wrote, what do I answer? I hit yes, felony, and I wrote underneath, but my record is sealed. And it was at noontime, and she took it and says, put it in a file, and I'm walking out the door, and here comes this guy in a three-piece suit, tall guy, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and I walk out to the parking lot. He comes back out. What he'd done, he went into his office. He was vice president of personnel. He picked up the application because it was on tap file, and he saw that, and he yelled, "Weldy, come here!" And he says, "I see you're in the Navy. You like drafting. You want to be a mechanic. I got to ask you one question. You know, you said your record is sealed. You didn't have to. You could have said no. You don't have a felony. Why'd you do that?" I said, "Well, I want to be honest." He said, "You know, we got a job upstairs in the specifications department, right next to the drafting department, and you'll learn a lot more. You have to wear a white shirt and a tie, and you won't make as much as a union person on the assembly line, but it'll give you an opportunity to take a step up." I said, "Does it pay more than $375 a month?" It pays $550 a month. I said, "I'll take the job." That was my lucky break. So
Honesty
I
pays
got into
off.
Mac,
Yeah.
and then from there I got into the trucking industry. And what happened was later on when I met my mentor Colin, he had become president from Mack Trucks in the Bay Area. He become president of Royal Industries and Peerless Trailers in Oregon, Tualatin. And they had tankers and logging trailers and things. And I was selling trucks at the time. He says, how would you like to move to Seattle and build a petroleum tanker operation for us? Because they also were getting into that. He said, but you'll have to have Northern California for a while and Alaska. And so we flew up to Seattle, and she said yes, she'd be willing to leave the sunny area of Mountain View, Los Altos.
To Seattle.
And
We
we
grew up in the
acclimated.
Bay Area. It's beautiful
And we
and
moved.
sunny.
We brought our kids and we came up, and that's how we got here in 1978 to
Into Seattle, yeah. Now, how many kids did you guys have?
2.
Two.
Teresa Weldy lives in Chelan, and Josh lives in East Wenatchee. So and we have 2 grandsons, and they're both married and
Wow.
have houses that they bought.
Wow.
And so they're in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee. So
And Teresa, she's worked at Heritage Heights for 22 years now.
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
So
she's done very
they're
well.
all here.
Yeah, they're all here.
yeah.
Oh, that's so cool that they're so close.
Yeah,
It's hard when they live so far
you're
away.
going to love if they have children.
I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old
Oh.
grandsons.
Oh,
Great.
My daughter's, what is she, 31? She's a doctor of audiology in
Oh.
Port Townsend area, and her husband just became a police officer in
Wow.
Kitsap County, sheriff.
But he said that he's going to bribe her one of these days, so then they have to move the grandkids back here.
I told her, you got 3 years to get them over here. I'm going to bribe you. And she goes, well, I'll be thinking of a number. I was like, that's not the answer I was looking for. I was a figure of speech. But we have some land now, so it came with some acreage where we're moving. So I'll have go-kart tracks and motorbikes and basketball, and trying to get that magnet,
Yes,
bring those
it
kids
is. We don't see them a lot because they're busy, but just to know that they're that close is awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
So they're both my kids are great. It's fun to be proud of your kids.
Oh,
And that's awesome. So in 1978, you moved to Seattle and raising kids and moving up the corporate ladder, building organizations.
Yeah, well, I was in sales and traveling a lot, leaving Mary and the little kids at home, and it rained a lot. And Mary said, hey, you got to figure something out. You can't be gone all the time, and I'm in this gray, wet. And we went camping to Mount Baker and got rained out. And then we went to the Olympic Forest and got rained out. And the secretary told me at Peerless, she said, well, we all go to the other side of the mountains for the sunshine. Oh, where's that? Well, we go to Chelan, Winthrop, all that area. So we started exploring over here. And from the trailer, we gave up the trailer, and then we got a place out at Wapito Point. Now we're over here all the time and falling. Oh, we're coming for the sun, And I left sales, and my mentor had become executive vice president for Cummins, left Peerless, and he hired me to run a branch over in Tacoma and get into management. And ultimately, I took his job as a vice president, and I worked for him through these companies for 20-some years. Wow. So it was wonderful, but it allowed me to be home and for Mary to raise the kids, and we enjoyed that. And the opportunity presented itself that she was ready to do something else, and she got into retail sales in the wholesale gift industry with Marcel Sherman through a trucking friend of mine. His wife was running that business. And that's where she developed this whole concept, because she always wanted to have a store. And that's where she gained all this knowledge.
a little backdrop to that. My father had his own business. It was a tool and die shop. Both my grandparents had their own businesses, and they were restaurants. And so that's
the entrepreneurship spirit's in you.
Yeah, well, and I went to work for my dad when I was 14 and a half. He'd come pick me up and take me to East Pali where his shop was, and I learned from his CPA, and as I was able to drive, then I would go to Lockheed and Ampex in the Bay Area,
Pick up orders and things.
pick up orders and meet the salespeople. And I was only 16 and a half.
Wow,
So
that's
it's been a fun thing to see that eventually we.
Plus, you did all the bookkeeping, a lot of bookkeeping
Yeah.
with your dad. So she had a lot of
Yeah.
background there.
We just had a conversation with Rod Brooks, which is a great guy, moved here. And we were talking, he was a corporate guy, and we talked about sometimes when you have a small business versus a corporation, it's actually harder to be a small business. You guys would be the perfect ones because you've done it both. Small business, retail, or working for a big company. They both have, obligations and challenges, but would you say running a small business is even more challenging because you're every department?
Oh, gee.
Loved it.
Loved it?
Absolutely.
Well, there was first of all, we're
Passion.
cashing out and leaving a corporate world and starting something new. So the exhilaration of something new,
Yeah,
and
the
all
risk.
these challenges you have, and you got to make it on your own because there's no fallback. So that's why I went back to work so she could do what she was doing, and we had a great team too. Diane Peoples and Vicki Peoples and
And
Patty
Patty.
taught her. But gosh, you couldn't ask for better folks.
Did you-
We're still friends with them.
Have you seen? We did Marion and Diane on the podcast.
Yeah. Oh.
We had them
Yeah.
on this podcast.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
great.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
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 And Brian and his wife.
Shannon.
Shannon. Yeah.
They're doing amazing things too.
Yeah.
That's what's fun about what you're doing here, and your friends will see this podcast hopefully, and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh!" Their kids will see it, your grandkids will see it.
And it was fun when we acquired the harvest tree from Greg and Brenda Hendrick. They had done a really great job trying to make something happen. It just wasn't working for them. And Mary discovered this little shop when we were over here.
Well, I have to tell you the story of this because this is really
Well,
cool.
and before you go there, I want to know or after you're going to say your point, but when did the twinkle I'm going to do a business in Chelan?
Okay, so I resigned from being a sales rep, and I had a third of the state as my territory. And it was mostly gift shops that had Marcel Sherman cards, which is papyrus today.
Oh.
They
Wow.
sold off to American Greeting. But then, because of the relationships that I had with my customers, they started letting me take over a 4-foot section or more, and I did all the ordering for them and rotated and whatnot. So I had a lot of large customers that I did all of that for them. So I ended up having to hire a gal to help me service these people. But so when I resigned, we were trying to figure out, we just got to get out of this rat race. And so we were, 45 about at that time. So I said, I think I can do my own store. So we started looking over in the Puget Sound for a building and, what communities, because I had some of the North End gift stores as my customers too. So we are praying about this and for direction, and we had a week over at Wabato. So my mom was taking a trip in Alaska and was going to come down and see us after that. And I said, well, great, we're going over to Chelan, and you can come along, and it'll be fun. So we did. Well, we never went into town, either Manson or Chelan.
We'd always stop at Company Creek Pizza,
There-
eat pizza, have some beer, and then hang out at Wabato Point,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it was a total shutdown. We're not doing anything.
Right.
And so, but my mom was here, so I thought, okay, we should go into Manson and we should go into Chelan. So we go into Chelan and we go into the harvest tree and cute little Apple store. And as we're leaving, in the lower corner of the window was, this business is for sale. I said, this is it, Mom. This
Did you
is
know right
it.
away? Did you
Oh,
know
I,
right there?
absolutely, no question.
There you go.
Turned around, we went back in the store, and I inquired from Brenda about it. And Dave was on his way to Spokane. And anyways, Brenda says, well, we'd like to meet with you to give you the details of purchasing the business. And we could do that tomorrow.
She calls me on the phone. She's so excited. I'm in Wenatchee, headed to Spokane. Turn around, come back. I call my customer. I say, "Hey, I'm going to be late.
There's an emergency. We're buying a store.
I got to go." I said, and he said, "Sure, get over here when you can, and we'll talk business." I buzz up here, and Mary's showing me this operation. I'm going, "Really? Okay."
So we meet the next day at what was that? It was Gucci's.
Yeah.
And
It's now the landing. It was.
Yeah, now the landing. Right.
And so they had all their paperwork and what they'd like for it and whatnot.
This was 1995. Yeah.
Perfect.
And so we all prayed about it there at that moment.
Wow.
Well, we realized they
we'd-
were Christians,
Yeah.
and okay, well, we'll sit down and pray about it, and that was good.
Yeah. And so we came back the following week with the money and signed papers. And
Well, it's not quite that.
Well, what did I leave out?
I said I was in corporate.
Yeah.
I went and called my former boss who owned the Cummins distributorship. He sold it, and I helped the transition. I said, "John, I will go out to Hunts Point, sit down with them." He says, "What are you doing? What's Mary doing?" I said, "She's found a little store. It's kind of like an Apple store, a bunch of Apple stuff. You're going to buy a retail store. You need to stay over here and go to work for some other corporation. I can help you with this." I said, "No, we're going to do it. We're ready to make a change." He said, "You go tell Mary she can't buy that store unless you can buy the building." I said, "Okay." So I told her that. And I told Greg, and Greg says, "Well, you never buy this building." I said, "Well, you got to tell us who owns it." He said, "Well, Bob and Sylvia Gervais." I said, "Well, we got to go out and talk to them." Well, we sat down with them, and they knew that Greg and Brenda were getting out. They want to rent their building, and they wanted Mary to have that opportunity. So they gave me an option to buy that building down the road.
First option. Yeah.
First option.
Nice.
And I said, "Okay, we can do it." That's how but that was the best advice we ever got, because we were able to buy that building.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So another just awesome God thing is, so we didn't know any lawyers here to draw up the papers and the agreement. Well, Dave Hellier.
I was going to say, I bet it's a failure.
So-
He drew up all the agreements for everybody.
So Dave Hellier was their lawyer, and I said, "Well, that's fine.
We'll
We
use
can-
him."
We'll use him." So we go. He was like, never had a deal like this. Buyer, seller,
Together.
working
I
together.
said, "Don't you want another representative?" "No." And he said, "Are you sure?" I said, "No." And Greg said, "Well, we shook hands on it. It's a good deal. We're all in agreement. Can't you just write up the paper?" "Okay." It was pretty fun. Yeah,
So-
it's
That
pretty
is a
cool.
rare thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the time, there's always like a little negotiating. That's
Yeah.
You know, it was
It's
just
a little
meant to be.
dicey.
It was
He
me-
said, "I've never seen anything like this."
yeah.
It was
Straightforward.
So just
And
It-
she interviews her team, and I got to tell this part.
This is-
Vicky and Patty, mom and daughter. "Oh yeah, we're excited to be there." And Diane Peoples, Mary goes, "Well, what about you, Diane?" "Well, I haven't made my decision yet. I'll think about it." Whoa, Diane!
Little negotiation going on.
Yeah,
Hardball.
but she, the next day, she's on board too,
Yeah.
But she was a little bit of a holdout.
Yeah. She was on strike for a minute. I'm not sure about change.
She's like, I'm not
Yeah,
making like
yeah.
a quick decision here.
Change in this town don't work together very well.
I'm going to let you, Mary, tell the rest of the story, but I do have to say this. I wanted so bad to give up what I was doing. I mean, I did it for 5 years, and I was making good money in sales. I sold some dump trucks around here, dump bodies and stuff, and petroleum tankers. But we had this opportunity with the kitchen station that we did, and I'll let her tell the rest of the story. But I start showing up on a regular basis. You know, I come from corporate America. And Diane had to go over to Mary and say, you know, that now that Dave's around here a lot.
This is after we become the Culinary Apple.
Yeah.
And
No, this was the Harvest Tree Kitchen Station. And Diane says, you know, Dave thinks he's the boss here. And Mary says, I know, I need to have a talk with him. And I got the talk.
Aww.
so, yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyways, so 96 was the Harvest Tree to 2006, so 10 years there. And in the middle,
2001.
was the kitchen station.
But
We had an opportunity to buy that building.
In 1999, Mary had an opportunity to buy Anne Fran's Fudge Factory. And she didn't even talk to me. She just said, we'll buy it. And we acquired the Fudge Factory and moved it down. And Anne Fran sent the guy down to train us. And Mary had to put this gift package together. And it happened to be on Friday, so I was back in town. And he says, well, I need to train you. And Mary says, why don't you just train Dave and he can train me? So I got trained on how to do the Fudge Factory at the Harvest Tree. And the following week, Mary says, we need to make some fudge. I said, well, you ready to get trained? She said, no, why don't you just make it? And I became the Fudge Factory guy from that day on. Mary never did make fudge.
Well, I read about your apron,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
the Fudge Master.
Yeah, I'm the Fudge Master.
And the fudge was called Papa's Lake Fudge
Yeah.
because we had two grandsons, and he's called Papa. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a little
So,
history.
but in 2001, just before then, Anne Fran gets a hold of us and says, I'm going to sell the kitchen cabinet. And we looked at it and said, well, there's not much to buy there. So we passed on it. But I did ask Anne, I said, Anne Fran, who owns the building? Oh, some guy over in Edmonds. He'll never sell it. Well, can I have his phone number? And no one knew who owned it. So
Even Pat Kelly.
yeah, Pat Kelly didn't even know. So I went over and I called Ed Orner, and he said, yeah, I'm interested in selling the building. He said, come over and see me. So I went over and saw him, and he told me how much he wanted. Okay. I offered him $5,000 left. He said, you didn't hear me, did you? The old guy, about my age now. He said, I said that price, and that's what I want for it. Oh, okay. Well, I'll do it. Can you meet me over at the bank in Chelan, and we'll put the deal together? No, you bring me a check. That's how we do it. So I got him the check, everything, paid it off, and we tried to rent that building, couldn't rent it.
We renovated it completely. Had a sump pump or whatever
Yeah,
those
we
are on
just
the
couldn't.
top. I
The
mean,
swamp,
just-
swamp cooler.
Yeah.
Just couldn't rent it.
But anyway, so town had supported, because Letha Green had the first original kitchen store in town,
It was called the kitchen cabinet.
and it was called the Kitchen Cabinet. And Anne Fran bought it from her and then moved it down the street. And anyways, so we renovated it. We could not lease that building out for the life of us. I mean,
So we're on vacation.
well, we could have if we
Yeah.
wanted it to be insurance or a
Real
realtor,
estate.
or we did have a motorcycle shop.
Motorcycle
guy
shop.
wanted-
Interesting.
Oh, and a skateboard shop.
And a skateboard shop. Huh?
Yeah,
And we wanted retail. That's
Right.
the one thing that.
and the town also was encouraging us because we had the Harvest Tree.
Well, I
You
was
wanna
on
make-
the other corner at that one.
Right,
so
we were down the street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ben and me. And,
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
there was enough real estate guys.
Yeah.
Nothing against
No, I
any of
get
it. It's just
They ended up putting that in the code. There's a certain percentage of retail that has to be established.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was in the code at that
It
time.
wasn't then. But Mary said, we were on vacation, she said, what are we going to do? And I don't know. She said, well, you know, the town had supported a kitchen store for so many years. Maybe we open up a kitchen store, and
Because
maybe
it complemented,
Yeah.
we would have some same vendors.
Right.
So we just increased the orders and stuff.
And kind of the same customer base, right? As it turned out.
Exactly.
And then she said,
Exactly.
and maybe then you could come into the business. And I said, let's do it. So,
Because you wanted out.
I wanted out. I was ready.
Yeah.
I want to be home, you know.
Yeah.
So it was great. We opened that up, and of course that's when Diane thought I was acting like the boss. You know, I got straightened out there, and that really worked out well. We really grew that little kitchen store.
Yeah, and then the opportunity came to purchase the building that the Harvest Tree was in.
Your option was, you had an option there.
And they were going to really raise our rent high, and we said we're ready. We want to buy, and so
And so that was 2005. We were making that decision. In 2006, we
right.
had expanded the Harvest Tree building. Vicki and Mary came, and I came up with the name, but actually Vicki coined the name.
came. So we had a condo over at Park Point, and I had all the team come up, and we had lunch, and I said, okay, the major goal here is to come up with a name for this new combined stores, and one being a culinary store and one being an apple store. And Vicki says, well, how about Culinary Apple? I said,
There
I
it is.
love it.
Oh.
By
So
Vicki People.
yeah,
Good for her.
exactly. So that's how the name came about.
Yeah, and then we moved all into the one location. What was unique about the store is, which wasn't happening, you know, there's a Sur La Tables, there's Kitchen Edition down in Wenatchee, there's kitchen stores are kitchen stores. What we had done is combine a gift store
Yeah.
that sold fudge with and gourmet foods with and all these apple things with a kitchen complement. So it was two stores in one. And when we were going to market and we joined the buying group, they found that very interesting. And during this time, you know, we're approaching the Great Recession,
Yeah.
2008.
I was going to see
Crisis-
how that helped.
crisis
Yeah.
management happens.
I know it very well.
Yeah, and
It was fun.
and it was happening
Not
in
so
our
much.
industry also.
Was it?
And they were stores were going out of business. Sur La Table went from 55 stores down to 40, and they were dropping, and lots of different things were changing. And they, Gourmet Insider caught that vision of what we were doing. And
So you
that's
bought that store in 05.
Well, we started it
They
in
bought the building.
The building, I mean.
yeah,
not
and
that
we
store,
started
the
it in 2006. We sold the
So I-
kitchen station building, and
We'd already been in business for 10 years.
yeah.
And then we purchased, not purchased.
So even though we started here in town in '96, the Culinary Apple started in 2006, but it was a combination of the Harvest Tree and the kitchen station to become the Culinary Apple.
And I built that building next to you in 2005.
Yeah, that was the gas station.
Yeah, there was a
That's
gas station
right.
for
Yeah.
2-3 years. So I bought the gas station that was dilapidated, and then
Right.
we
Okay,
right next to you.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. That's
I
right.
think that had a fence around it, like a kind of dilapidated cyclone fence on the corner for like 2 years or 3 maybe. It was vacant for a while.
Yeah, it was right next to Company 107.
Yeah.
Okay, right there.
Yeah, and then we were next to them.
next to that, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of changes.
Yeah, a lot of changes. Yeah, a lot of good changes.
Yeah, I mean, we come up once a month, and just to see the evolution of the shops and stuff, because when we took over in '96, most of the stores were owned by orchardists. It was, you know, the wives operated them, and then a few outsiders, but it was pretty local.
What I found when I was reading about your history, the gift boxes of apples that you were hand making
Hand
those?
packed.
Yeah.
And you were
Hand making
and if
and
I-
packed.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were doing like 350 a year.
Yeah.
Hand making those?
Oh, yeah.
In a matter of
Wow.
2.5 months.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but mainly in
harvest
December,
time.
you know,
And you
from
ship them
Thanks-
around the world, right?
Well, it's around the
Well-
United States.
Around the United
Yeah.
States.
Yeah,
We
Really?
did go out of country.
yeah, a few times.
Yeah.
And they're still doing it, you know. They're still hand packing, and
Strambergs.
Lars and Joanne are doing a great job at that. And
Did you
have
know they
grown
were
it.
on our podcast?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Yes.
They're great.
Yeah.
They sure appreciated you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she started working for us and was our manager for 10, 11 years, and we offered them that opportunity to buy it. As a matter of fact, they just paid us off on the store.
Congratulations.
And,
Oh,
and they
that's
would,
cool.
yeah, 4 years early.
Good for them.
They because we self-financed and we wanted to help them out, and now they want to buy the building. So we'll talk about that later.
Good for
you
them.
know. We'll see.
When you first started, talk to me about your fears. You know, a lot of people think running a business is easy. It would just happen. Everything will be fine. But it sounds like you guys had a pretty good team,
Yeah.
which probably helped a lot.
Yeah,
But
and we're not fearful of taking a risk.
Yeah.
They,
Yeah.
the-
I mean, you don't go in sales not
no, commission.
That is-
taking a
Commission
risk.
sales.
That's so
I mean, there's
true.
been.
Trust me.
Yeah.
You know about that?
There's
We
only one
understand.
person going to make that sale. You better get out there and you better knock on some doors.
Yeah.
You know, I did a lot of cold calling, and so did she. Yeah.
Well, I don't think it was fear. I just had so much creativity going on,
Yeah.
and it was passion.
Yeah.
That was probably the hardest thing when we retired. I had no passion. It had been sucked out of me. I mean, that's it's just that process of grieving.
Yeah.
And
We had no intentions of retiring. You know, we were just going to work forever. And so our corporate name was, when we moved over here, Mary said, what are we going to call ourselves? I said, well, we've kind of gone crazy, haven't we? Well, Mary goes, yeah, it kind of went fruity. Oh, Went Fruity Incorporated. Let's be Went Fruity Incorporated. That's what our corporate name was.
Oh, that's funny.
So, you know, our
Culinary
girl,
Apple.
yeah, Vicki and Diane get their check and it says Went Fruity Incorporated. And they're orchardists, right?
Yeah. Match made in heaven.
It was a classic.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's
I
kind of
mean,
funny.
it wasn't easy by any means, but I loved what I was doing, and I used to go to market as a sales rep. Now I'm going to market to buy,
Yeah.
and we did a lot of different things over the years, and
And you know that store, well, we do knife sharpening and all kinds of things. And I looked at it as a lot of people in my industry thought, why are you doing that? I said, well, you know, I go to work happy and have fun, and it's an opportunity, and it's like a tool store. And you know, when you go into a kitchen store and you see all those gadgets, and you got all these gourmet flavors going on, and the, you know, the roasted nuts and all the things that are go on in that store
amazing.
with the background music, it's just so awesome.
Yeah,
Makes
I've
you feel good.
I've taken
Yeah.
this knife in there many times.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Lars does a good
Oh,
job.
Lars has expanded
She's
that,
great.
and the fudge factory has been expanded. They've done a great job, and we're
Yeah.
excited about it.
Did you guys were you nervous, I should say, if you can remember back when you first kind of started incorporating and blending these ideas and these complementary, synergetic game plans that you had, were you like, is the community going to like this? Are they going to embrace it? Or did your current staff you kind of inherited just go, oh, don't worry about it, it's all going to be good?
Well, you know, we're salespeople.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Mary and I brought to this community was First Fridays. You remember the First
Oh,
Fridays?
of course I do, yeah.
And, well, we started that.
That's amazing.
We saw that somewhere out of town on a vacation, and we introduced it.
Springs.
Yeah, and we introduced it to the CBA, the Chelan Business Association, before it is now, and they agreed to do it. But they were surprised they weren't getting the sales. After a while, they said, "This thing's dying out." But you know, the locals came down, and they all gathered and talked to each other, and
Yeah.
they'd come into the stores talking to each other. But what we did that was different is we put a little coupon in the mirror, and it was 20% off on First Fridays only. Anything in the store, 20% off. And you know, we'd be so busy in that store, and we'd, at the end of the night, you know, we're tired, we'd count all those coupons. 30 coupons, 30 people came in and used that coupon. Hey, that's
Once
great.
a month.
So when the town got tired of the first Fridays, we changed the hours, trying to keep it going. And I remember, I won't say the names of them, but they said, well, how do you get the people in? I said, well, we give a 20% coupon for 3 hours. Big deal. I can't give 20% discount. I'll go broke. I said, it's just for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And it, during this time of year, especially the slow time, it's cash flow.
Not only that, but you probably found that you got the opportunity to introduce your store to the public, and then they come back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they tell somebody else.
Exactly. So first Friday went away, but it lasted for quite a while. But
But then we started a rewards program, and that
we have
that's
thousands.
what
They have
we-
thousands of people on that.
Now you got a
reward.
database.
We replaced the first Friday with the rewards
So for people that
program.
don't remember or know what that is, could you explain what that was?
Okay, what it is, you just fill out the card and your birth date, and we used.
Well, we had a
the-
card file in the old days. Now, now
Index
Joanna,
cards.
it's all computerized. Right?
Yeah, no, I had index cards forever, but my buyers
Yeah.
forever.
He still does,
I s-
actually.
I
He
still-
throws them on my desk every once in a while and says, look at these.
But a person come in and we'd always ask, "Are you a rewards member?" "Oh, yes, I am." So we grab their card and we put their purchase down there, And after so many purchased, after $250, they would
$250.
receive a
$25.
$25, and
They
then,
could use it on anything.
Yeah.
and then on first Fridays, they would come in and still have the 20% discount. So we had all these different things that would apply. And on their birthday, they'd give a $10 gift certificate, and they'd be notified that they have $10 for
And most businesses on that first Friday, like between 5 and 7 or whatever it was, put something out front of their store, which was kind of unusual. So you could walk down, you had all these different gifts and different discounts. And so it was kind of a cool, like you said, it turned into, for a while there, because I was on the other corner at that time. I was on the same corner. It turned into like, because I remember I had people out there, and my agents would go out there and put a table out and just talk to people.
It was very popular, and
Yeah.
it worked very well, and it was just another process in trying to get the community, mainly the locals. We wanted the
Yes.
locals to experience downtown. And that's, then Mike Shear comes around and says, I got an idea. How about starting a farmer's market? Something better than that Saturday out in the parking lot. Let's do something. So we came up with this Thursday evening farmer's market, but we started it downtown at first, and we got Raphael involved in it and things. And my gosh, that's 14 years later, and look at where that is now.
In River Rock now, right? That one.
We're right
Riverwalk
there.
Park, yeah.
And we resigned 2 years ago, and we're still on the board. 14 years, because we're founding members. So Mike says we can't get off the board.
Can't get off.
Yeah.
So
And he just opened a gas station down in
Down
Chelan
in-
Falls.
yeah.
That's right. Yes.
And some other stuff
Which
I've heard.
they needed it down there, right?
Oh my
they
God!
really needed
Mike
a gas
does everything.
station.
He's building a Bible camp up in Stehekin. It's just
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a submarine captain.
Yes.
I'm a
Yeah,
nuclear
he's
a- Yes.
submarine.
Yeah, he is a
I'd
commander.
love to get him on here. He's got an interesting story.
Oh, he's got a great
He has
story.
a great story. That'd be a real
It'd
good.
be fun to listen.
Yeah.
No,
That's one of the things about your stories are invaluable. I mean, everybody has one. And to the whole point about connecting community, I mean, this is a different way to do it, but it's that's why I'm so humbled by you guys coming and telling your awesome story and how you did what you did. And I think that I hadn't connected First Friday as a storytelling environment and a connection for the community, but yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because they're our best salespeople.
Word of mouth.
If they know what's downtown, I can't tell you how many people during the summer have guests that come over.
Yep.
We are the first store they stop in,
Yeah.
and they're proud of it.
Yeah, it's an amazing store.
They go, "This is my favorite store."
Yeah.
I
Or-
bought many knives in there. For my yeah, that's it. It's you guys. It's funny how you had such a vision to, use the apple industry and the harvestry and then the fudge and then the culinary and then I was reading through how you were you said something about how a lot of times people will, on box stores, will categorize by brand, right? Nike or Adidas, or whatever it is, right?
Oh, and not mix things.
And, and they categorized by like bananas or something. Could you explain what, like, you had different sections where you put all of the same type of product,
Right.
rather than the brand,
Right.
So you didn't. I mean, just little things like that make it easier to. I mean, that's pretty neat. Like,
Yeah, well, and you know, the other thing that we did was, because we had the fudge factory and there was a commercial kitchen there, we decided, let's have cooking classes.
Oh yeah.
So we did cooking classes for a long time as well. And that's a lot of work.
Oh.
And we had a lot of guest chefs from Spokane, Bellingham, local. Jay Weatherby, former mayor. You know, he loves to cook. He was in there doing his thing.
Yeah.
We've had so many different people.
That's cool.
And we just exposed people to, and when you came in to participate in that, we had like 16 guests that would be there. They'd pay to come, and they'd have an opportunity to shop afterwards, 20% off.
20%.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, we're not making as much money, but boy, the smile on their face and all the gadgets they would buy.
Yeah.
And oh gosh,
Oh,
Mert,
that's so
Mert,
cool.
you remember Mert? She
Yes.
never missed one. Realtor
Mayor
Mert.
Griffith.
Yeah, she never missed. She said, "This is my month out. I'm always going to be at the store."
I loved her.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
I loved her
Oh,
too.
That's
yeah.
cute.
She was funny.
I love Mert.
Faithful.
You were talking about before about my grandma Daisy.
Yeah.
Could you tell that story on air? I mean, I just, you know, obviously I loved that girl. So
Yes, we loved her too.
Yes.
So Grandma Daisy,
my dad's mom.
yes, your dad's mom,
Yeah.
was good friends with Patty Armbruster. And when we bought the store, Patty Armbruster worked there.
Well, you just told that though.
It wasn't recorded.
Oh.
Oh yeah, so retail.
All
Yeah.
the stories.
right.
There was another one too. I think that you cut off just so we can start,
Yeah.
but we want both.
So, so Patty, Vicki Peoples, Diane Peoples were our staff that we inherited. They said they'd stay on to work with us. And Patty's good friend was your grandma, Daisy. And so she'd come in, and when she was still driving, she'd come in and she'd visit with Patty for a while. And so we finally put a little stool so she could come in, and that was her stool.
Because
So
how old was she at this point?
she was in her,
Well, she's
80s?
pushing.
all right, so 96.
Yeah.
She lived to be 101.
Yeah, that's why I was
She was
wondering if she was in her
sharp. Was she-
80s or she's in her 90s. At
She
this
was
point.
sharp
Yeah.
as a tack right up until like 2 weeks before she passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
101 years old.
Yeah.
Came to this town on a covered wagon.
Matching
Yeah.
shoes and handbag and dressed to the nines. And
Hair done. She just was. Anyways, she'd sit there for about an hour visiting with us and the customers, and it was just an absolute joy.
Yeah, she was fun.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a great lady.
She had a wild sense of humor too. It was,
Yes.
she could
she
pull
did.
your leg pretty good. She was also in love with Brett Boone, the second baseman for the Mariners. So she was always watching the Mariners. And then one time, I mean, she outlived 3 husbands, you know. And
She
so,
told me that.
And so
And
I
she
go,
told me that if something happened to Mary, she'd pick me up.
She picked you up.
She did that.
Look at her go.
Oh no,
She was spirited.
because she
She
only
did.
see me once in
She
a while
re-
because I come in from Seattle, you know, and she'd smile at me, and I'd go right over and talk to her because she's so friendly.
Yeah.
She'd give him a hug.
She was
Oh, yeah,
nice
she gave me a
place,
hug
and
and-
she told me one time, I go,
That's so
Grandma, you know,
cute.
you're alone in this apartment. And she goes, yeah, I had to save more money if I was going to live this long. I had no idea. And then she'd be like, I go, well, Grandma, you know, they got like this senior citizens, you know, you're just watching, the Mariners aren't on all the time. You know, you could maybe go down there and meet a nice gentleman. She's like, well, the first thing I said was, you had 3 husbands die on you. What's going on? She goes, they just couldn't keep up. You know, they just couldn't keep up with me. I go, you're kind of hard on men. Then I transition and I'd say, well, you know, you're kind of alone a lot. My dad can't be here all the time. I can't be here. You know, my dad was really good about seeing her every day. And so why don't you go down there and maybe meet a senior citizen? She goes, have you seen how ugly those old men get? She goes, I'll date them to 65. That's it. After that, and she's like 95. She was just always pulling your leg. You can't tell. Are you serious? Or,
Is she the one that wanted the facelift? Or
that was my mom.
That was your mom.
Yeah,
Okay.
my mom, when she had dementia, she'd be like, I think I should get a facelift. And I go, well, Mom, you're like 80. How old do you want to be? like, what are we gonna do? Like, where do we start and stop? Anyway,
that's funny.
I had a lot of beautiful, amazing women in my life.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was pretty amazing too. But yeah, she had all kinds of pull your leg, talk to you about. She'll tell a story to you, and you'd like swear it was real for like 30 minutes, and then there'd be a punchline. Like you got me hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
No, I was blessed. That is funny because she knew so many people that loved her.
Yeah.
I bet that was a good little advertisement.
It was great.
Yeah, no, she was great.
And that's the thing about having a retail shop. I mean, real estate, that was a time where people would walk in a lot too and just have coffee with you. But I bet you got to meet so many people that are probably still friends.
Oh gosh, we built our retirement home down in East Wenatchee, and commuted on the bus
For 8 years.
for 8 years.
Wow.
And it was we just wanted to sell everything out and move down, and had no intentions of retiring. But our son, we were up in Stehekin with the family thing, and he's one of our board members. And he'd only been to 2 meetings. He said, "I'm calling a meeting." I said, "What's that?" Okay. He said, and I think we were 65, or 66 and 65.
Yeah.
And he said, well, we want to know when you guys are going to retire, sell the store. What are you going to do? And we never thought about it. And I said, well, you guys interested? No, I don't want to work that hard. But,
That's a good answer.
But, it got us thinking about it. And it's very difficult to sell a retail store. Very difficult. You can liquidate, but it's very difficult to sell.
And then get paid if you carry the contract.
Yeah. And then also you got to, and a family member don't want to buy it. And they say, well, it's not, and you go to somebody that's supposed to know everything, and he says, well, you don't have much to sell. I don't think you can go to the bank, so you're going to have to find somebody with some money. And she got me a book to read, and I read it, and said, well, ask your employees if you got a favorite employee. And that's how this all developed,
Good for them.
And it just was meant to be the way it was. And I remember Joanne and Lars, we'd love to buy it. They're real foodies. They got introduced to the kitchen station. They didn't know about the harvestry. But she was working at the or at the Culinary Apple, and she said, well, we'd love to buy it. And Lars says, yeah, that'd be great. Well, we don't have any money. I said, well, that's okay, because we're not going to sell it for 5 years. We gave them 5 years to save money.
Oh, that's really cool.
See, so that's a long-term plan, right? Took 5 years, but they saved everything to get the down payment. We said, we'll finance it, and we'll give you a heck of a deal, because we want you to be successful.
Yeah, Lars had a heck of a military career too.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. He talked about that a lot on our podcast. That was really cool.
And then the bear food?
Bear
Yeah,
Apple.
Bear apples.
Yeah.
And then he got with PepsiCo, and he's got the roofing business. They're very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
super
they're-
sweet people.
Yeah, they're great people.
And they've added so much to the community,
Yeah, they're very involved. It's wonderful.
So so talk to me about retirement. What's it like?
Well, that was an interesting thing, because we decided to put the deal together the end of 2019, and gave them the keys on January 1st. And we celebrate the new year, and we on January 3rd, we get up at 5:30 like we're going to catch the bus or something. And I'm looking at it, I'm making the coffee, and I'm going, what are we going to do? And Mary goes, oh my God, it hit us right in the face.
bet it did.
So Mary builds this list of everything we're going to do with our house.
Oh.
Cleaning from top to, after 3 weeks of that, I said, this is not retirement. I
Yeah.
don't like
Your
it.
honeydew list was a full-time job.
And so we just said, well, we're going to plan this big long trip, go see family down in California and everything. And we're headed out. We get through the winter. Lars and Joanne are doing just fine. We get down to our first timeshare down there, because we still had the timeshare. We were doing RCI.
Yeah.
We get down there and we get this phone call from Joanne and Lars. Oh my God, They want to shut us down.
COVID.
We found out COVID.
Yeah.
And here they are, COVID, and here we are down there, COVID, and it's like crazy.
Yeah. A weird
But
time.
you know what? Even though that happened and we're acclimating to retirement and get home, the best thing that ever happened to the Culinary Apple, because they had essential products. They shut them down for a while, but they were able to open up.
The food is what got them back open.
Yeah, and
That's so
the
nice.
other thing that happened is all those people in Seattle found out they could work from their other home.
Oh, yep.
They all moved over here
Yeah.
to operate here
Yep.
on the computer, and they found out that their homes weren't equipped like over in Seattle and on Hunts Point and Bellevue and Redmond and area. They wanted Le Creuset, Wusthof, they want all these good quality products. Go down to that kitchen store. Come down to the kitchen store, and Joanne and Lars, that the rest is history.
Yeah, this place got slamming during COVID.
Yeah.
Plus all the mask rules and it was so strict in so many of the areas on the west
Right.
side that people were like, I'm out here. In fact, I remember Jim Oscarson when I was in high school in the 80s. You know, this was becoming a party, you know, when Jim and I were teenagers. That city park would be like, especially on Memorial Day and Labor Day.
Russ, you don't look like a partier.
I had my day in the sun. I don't anymore, but I don't ran out of it, or it ran out of me. But we're no longer doing that. But back in the day, so and Jim had a picture that he posted online, and it had 1986 in the summertime, and it was just wall-to-wall kids. And then in COVID, he had another picture, and it was wall-to-wall kids. It was almost like we went back in time.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Because you remember back, I don't know if you guys weren't here, but in the 80s, all the leaders in the business community and people were like, these kids are just tearing everything apart. They're not spending any money. They're just partying. And so let's start making this more about families. So they brought in a whole bunch of police officers from all over the place,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
300
yeah.
of them,
Yeah.
and horses. And they just, because it was becoming like in the sororities and fraternities, like a Fort Lauderdale
Yeah.
party, spring break stuff. So that's not good for any town, really. And so they just started writing tickets, and they wrote enough tickets where eventually the kids went elsewhere. And so that kind of became more of a family tourism destination, a little less frat boy and sororities, right? But during COVID, so all the kids, they all came here too. So there was like, wow, this is like a kind of nostalgic for Jim and I. I was like, oh, that's what it was like when we were growing up. It's probably good it's not like that every year. But
Yeah.
it was interesting what COVID did. And then, the ramifications in our business, it's turned into a challenge because you now have a new buyer since COVID and that forced adoption of technology that is selling their homes. And they're coming over with a lot of equity, and they're living here. So we have a new primary resident buyers that's much younger with kids.
Oh,
Before that, we basically had just the second home, the retiree, and the investor, a pure investor, and then a few local buyers. But we've been kind of pricing our way out of that market, sadly. And now we got this primary resident buyer that's willing to spend a lot more money. So it's had some challenges because now the affordability factor is kind of even harder than it was because now you got even more. It's gentrification, right, where you're selling in a more expensive area, but you're seeing a much younger buyer than we used to that are buying primary residence. So it's just like any change, we're in the real estate business. One of the things is we're always at least our team's always focused, and our development team is focused on essential worker housing. So we're really doing some creative, my team's coming up with some creative solutions around providing essential workers affordable housing, and not the, like Chelan Housing Trust has
Right.
part of it, Habitat for Humanity. There's other programs, but who's suffering the most are that 60% of median income to about 140%, which is the teachers and the police officers and the hospitality.
Right.
All the people you need to run a town.
right, exactly.
And they're the ones that make too much to get government help and don't make enough necessarily to compete with that Microsoft executive working from home or
Right.
whoever. So it's really a serious challenge since COVID that we're trying, but it's a very complex problem. But it's something that's very important to me and my team, and hopefully, no guarantees, but hopefully we can figure something out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
But COVID changed everything, right? And,
It sure
It
did.
sure did.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think as retailers and the constant flow of people and interacting to be shut down.
Yeah.
All the things that we had, I mean, I had about 20 different things in my phone that over the years we'd been listing out that we wanted to do. And almost all of them we could not do because all of that had been shut down. So it was.
Did you make him go back to work on the house?
I got to tell you one other story. We had our home at Crystal View Estates before we bought the little condo. We were kind of sizing down and doing different things. And because of a lot of, especially the lady realtors, would come into the store and have gift packs that Mary or Vicki or somebody would put together to present to the owner, you know, closing gifts. And we decided we want to sell our house. Mary goes, how are we going to pick a real estate?
Yeah.
Well, she come up with this idea. Why don't we all invite them up to our lunch and show them around? Different realtors. And they were all ladies. And they all put their card in a bowl. And at the end, we said, well, to be fair, because you're all our customers, you come into our store, we're going to have a drawing. And they all, Mary went in, picked one card.
Oh, this is
Mert.
great.
Was Mert?
Mert was the
Mert.
one who, she sold our house.
That's awesome.
That's how Mert got, and we became, we
love
became
that.
friends with Mert, so
Yeah.
it was wonderful.
I mean, it was horrible. We agonized.
We didn't know how we were going to do it.
We hear that a lot.
Yeah.
It's hard in a small town. You
A
got
small
lot of-
town, you know everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of good people too, so it's, you know, you're not,
Yeah.
you know, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny. After we had retired, I mean, David was so big in the trucking industry, dump trucks, log trucks,
Oh, you name it.
fleets, and all this, that we attended a lot of big conferences.
Right.
And so all those folks knew we had bought a store. So they frequent us
Oh, they came
when
over
they
too.
came over.
Oh,
They
that's
helped
cool.
us.
Yeah.
So when Joanne and Lars, it had been probably about, I want to say a couple months that they'd had the store. And Joanne goes, you guys know a lot of people. I said, we do.
Yeah.
It's and that's what we miss the most,
Yeah.
just not being in touch.
Are you about ready to open another store?
We've,
We almost did.
we almost, no.
There's
No.
there's a entrepreneurship bug in you guys.
It's bad.
We-
It's very bad.
I love that.
Yeah, we almost bought the kitchen sink from Mary Woods, and then we had another opportunity. Even after we sold the business, we thought about it, and just recently I had made a comment to her about something we might want to do, and she looks at me like, we don't need to be doing it. I mean, we don't need to do it.
Well, the way we ended up deciding on the kitchen sink, we're in San Diego on vacation. That's one thing. We have never sacrificed taking vacations. When our kids were little, it started and it has stayed. It is so
Important. We just talked about that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So and then when we go to market, wherever the city it was going to be held in, we'd stay over and do some touring and stuff. So, but where was I going? Oh, so
Mary Woods.
yeah. So we're in this condo and we're there for 10 days, and so we're evaluating all her numbers and that.
I'm ready to close on the deal.
We were. I mean, and she.
And she knew she had me on it, and I was ready. And
So I'm reviewing some things, and I stood up and I said,
you actually wanted to do it.
yes, I did. I did. Staffing was kind of a concern. But anyways, I stood up and I said, you know, if we buy this store, we're not doing this for several years.
Well, you said for 2 years. No
Well, that's
vacations, no. And here we were going to Europe and doing different things. And when she said that, I didn't want to give that up.
Yeah.
I did. For 2 more
Flexibility.
years, I'm all about work. I put 18 hours in if I had to. But I wanted to have that 2 to 3 week break. And she said,
It
"Nothing
sounds
to
like
do."
you've always had it.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I was a workaholic when I got out of the Navy at Mack Trucks, and my boss said, "You don't need to take vacation. We'll roll it over, and you can cash it out and have a big chunk of dough when you want." And I did that for 2 years. And Mary says, "I don't like that." She said, "We got little kids. We need to go camping like we used to up in the Sierras." And so I had to give that up, and I agreed with her. I said, "Okay, well, I won't do that anymore."
Well, it's good advice. We had Rod Brooks on, and he would have aired the week before yours going to air. And he had a big executive career. He's now on the South Shore, and he's doing all kinds of fun things with the community. A great guy. But he, his first marriage, was a victim of partly just because he's traveling, salesman. And, and my first marriage, Grace and I are still very, very close friends. But about that 10-year mark, I had my head down. I was doing those 18-hour days, 7 days a week for a very, very long. I still kind of work hard, but not like obsessively, because it's such a dangerous trap.
Yep.
Because on one hand, it makes sense, but it's good advice for people that are going to be in anything to make sure you take a step back and prioritize some things, because it's so easy. You've seen it in your friends. It's easy. It's easy to do. Or one day you wake up 20 years later, and you're like, or 10 years later, like, who are you?
Yeah.
I haven't seen you more than, or your kids grow up. I'm telling my daughter with my grandkids, like, she's a doctor, and she was faced with an opportunity to go to 3 days off a week, and when her second child was born, and I said, you should do it. You can do 10 hours or 8 hours, 10 hours, and you only got 4 days. That extra day a week is huge for a brand new baby. And your other son was 4 years ahead. So I don't know. I always tell my kids, my son and just got married, and they want to have kids, and I said, look, trust me, we'll drive you. He works with us in the excavation side, and I go, we're drivers, we're workers, but you need to make sure that I don't know how you feel, but I don't believe like the word balance is the right word, because it kind of implies one day, next day, I think it's all in for a while and then all in for a while. That's how my balance would work, versus I'm going to take balance. And when it's summertime, for example, just like if you were in real estate, it's pretty busy. There's a lot of activities.
Yeah.
It's light till 9:30 at night. In the winter, it's this thing called winter shows up, and it's dark at 4, and it's much harder to sell. So I always tell my agents, I'm like, if you're a crab fisherman in Alaska, you're going to be catching crab during the season, and then in the off season, you have time. And so that's balance, but whatever the balance is for people, I just encourage young people, especially entrepreneurs, figure that out, because it can be expensive if you don't.
Yeah.
Well, I think the other thing too is we're very huge goal setters.
Yeah.
And we're very faithful, we still have a corporation, on meeting and having a board meeting and documenting what we discussed and setting goals. And I think that's where a lot of folks fail. The balance of setting goals and
Together.
achievable goals
Very important.
is right at the top.
Yeah, because if you have a marriage that you don't have common goals together, then it's like, what are you guys striving for? And that's when you get that divide. You guys are going on 2 separate paths, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, how are we supposed to ever connect again? Yeah.
Well, I'm
Absolutely.
still curious about what's next for you guys, because I have a feeling there's something.
No, they're enjoying grandkids
there's
and
something
kids
in the
and
works.
vacation.
We're
and
huge.
they're going to help their kids
You
and
don't
their
have to tell me.
grandkids
I
do
guarantee-
what they want.
I'm going to come back, call Dave in a year, and I'm like, what are you doing, Dave? I'm curious.
They're going to help their kids and grandkids do things.
We're very organized in our camping, we got our trailer and our rig, and we go off camping, and we got our trips all scheduled. We're going to do the 250-year anniversary of the country by flying back to Washington, D.C. on this group thing. And
That'll be fun.
And in
Yeah,
2027,
we're
we're
really
going to take a Viking cruise on the Great Lakes and check all that out. So we are already planned out that way. We're getting together with Vicki and Harold Peoples on a deal that we're going to sit down, kind of like a Bible study thing. And, we're staying tight with some of the local folks here. We can't get off of the Thursday evening farmers market, so we're committed for life on that one. We found, once a lifer, always a lifer, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so
That's awesome,
it's
guys.
great. And if something comes, we still have, like Mary said, our LLC, and there might be something that we might help somebody with. I don't know.
Be
We'll
good
see.
consultants too. You guys would be great.
Yeah.
Invaluable resource for people that want to open a business.
And
Yeah.
you guys live in Wenatchee, so people in Wenatchee or
Yeah.
Chelan,
Yeah, we thought about. I ran a big sales team, and I've seen some of your posts and things, and I'm a motivator type person. And matter of fact, we just got back from Cassia, which is old Lou Tice's ranch up there
Yeah, I
in
know
Twist.
that. I've seen that.
And
Isn't that
he had the
great?
Pacific
Amazing.
Institute. I had my team over doing that thing one time, and so we have something to offer.
Some
We spend a
speaking.
lot of time with Rotary and all that kind of thing, but
I would say, excuse me, I love hearing about your training that you do with your employees, because that's one of our high points. We had regular sales meetings, new product comes in, check it out, try it, because when we went to market, our salespeople would tell us how it works. What's the benefit of it? Why should somebody pay $60 for a grater?
Yeah.
And I think that's critical. Absolutely. If you don't know what and that's the challenge of the kitchen store, is new product is always being developed, and you've got to be able to talk about
your
it.
team has to
Yeah.
go out and talk to them about it.
Yeah.
One of the things go ahead.
Well, I was just going to thank you for saying that. That's very kind of you for his training, because he does a lot of training. A lot of it isn't even on social media, but I know he does post quite a bit of it. And 60%, I would say, would be more mindset and attitude and perspective of life. And then there's probably 30 to 40% is just the work. And knowing the product and knowing your craft and help the skill set on that. But he's just very big on helping people work through life's challenges and overcoming your limiting beliefs. He's amazing at that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really become like a generational. It's changed, right? When I was younger and I had my team in Chelan, I didn't have to do a lot of motivating. We were all pretty
Motivating,
We were all kind of grew up the same. We didn't really have a lot of tech growing up. We played outside. We grew up with critical thinking as part of it. We'd cause problems, have to fix the problems, good or bad.
Yeah.
And now it's a little different. We're trying to get people to be vulnerable, to be able to talk to people. Some of my agents grew up with iPads in their crib.
I know.
And they don't talk. I had one agent, I don't think they're with me anymore, but they were like, Russ, I just think what you're asking me to do is wrong. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Well, you want me to call people. And I go, well, you're in sales, so it seems like if you're going to buy like a house, we should probably have a conversation about it. And they're like, well, here's the thing. And he was dead serious. I believe it's rude to call someone without texting them to get permission to call them.
You're never going to get permission.
So it's like, and I can't dismiss it because
Yeah.
there's some generational gaps that I'm experiencing. And I tell my team in Chelan, I have a team in Wenatchee and an office down there, and this one's a smaller team, more focused, like with me every day because I'm up here most of the time. It's like I sound like my dad. I'm starting to say I walked uphill both ways, 3 feet of snow barefoot or something, because that's the way it's translating. Like, wait, you got to call people?
Yeah.
So that part of the training, I take it to the extreme where I'll have like Fletcher Ellingson come in, or I'll have a lot of mindset work to help you kind of unravel as an individual. Why is it that you're locked up? Like, what is the programming that happened that we need to maybe adjust the way you look at things? Because if not, being in sales, it's going to be hard for you to be successful. And yet I know that there's a lot of ways to do things, Part of it is challenging because you don't know how people want to be talked to anymore. Email, text, Facebook messaging, TikTok,
So you
Instagram.
got to do it every single way until it works.
Yeah, and then you got 7 generations of people working with you at the same time, and customers are 7 generations. So it's a wild time right now, especially with AI and the advancement in tech. And I'm a pretty early adopter on stuff, but like Nicole's, 30, maybe 31. She's an old soul, but my partner's 31. I'm 56. So I surround myself with people, very, very smart people, and
That's important.
Yeah,
Yes.
and just to try to, because it's so easy to get locked up in your own way, like this is Russell's way to do it, And I know that's not true because things evolve, but it is challenging, and the training is leaning. I take it to the extreme, and I say I think real estate sales is 99% mindset, 1% skill set, because if you have great skills but you can't talk. If you don't know how to communicate, how are we going to use your skills?
Yeah.
So I just take it to the extreme. Obviously, it's not that, but it is at least 60-40. Like,
Yeah.
you have to have a good attitude, and you have to know
Or
how to handle
70-30.
70.
Depends on what's happening.
And it's funny because it's the hardest. A lot of people just weren't raised that way, and so you have a hard time adjusting, even just a little bit. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in AI
Well,
will take
something,
us.
Russ. People do business with people.
100%.
And it's just like down in Wenatchee. There's a reason why Mary and I go into the Lamolo's for pizza and her flatbread. And we get the same thing over and over. And it's because one day Zeb came over and touched tables. He said, "How are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
"I'm the owner." And from now on, when we go in there, "Dave and Mary, hi." "Oh yeah, I know. Flatbread, classic pizza,
Yeah.
2 beers, right? You want to change? I got this." "No." But
Yeah.
I don't, he raised his price. He's got employee problems. I told Mary the other day, I said, we're sitting there watching people walk down the avenue, having our beer, waiting for our pizza, and we'd take it home. And I said, he could raise his price $10-15. I'm still going to come in here. It's not about the money.
Yeah.
It's about the experience. And I feel, and Mary feels like we're welcomed. People do business with people.
Yep.
And people, and we vote with our dollars.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yep. We really do.
I think being genuine,
Authentic. Yeah.
absolutely. If you're not,
Yeah.
even the non-observant person, the worst one,
Can feel it.
can feel it.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. This podcast is what I consider more long form. So it's 90 minutes, hour, 2 hours,
Oh,
whatever.
goodness.
Whatever it ends
It's
up
already
being.
been over an hour.
But I've had a lot. I've
Did
had a
you know
lot of
that?
people.
It's like
I've
an
had a
hour
lot
and
of people
15 already.
tell us you should do like short. You get more people if you just have short little clips. And I'm like, I have this theory that old school, that authentic, genuine, is new school. So while everybody else is going hardcore tech and abbreviating everything, I'm
Yeah.
going slower. We're going to be handwritten cards and having, like we're inviting you to, we're going to have a client appreciation at the community center for all of the podcasts. We've done about a year's worth
fun.
of work in
Nice.
the first week or so of December. Hopefully we'll help the community center too by helping people get informed about what they are. So they offered to maybe let us do it there. But just gathering, just having conversations like the first Friday, but just people versus people to people.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong, but I think sometimes the more things speed up, the more you should slow them down. That's where my dad comes. I'm literally talking like my dad.
Yeah. I asked you last night, I sent you a text and said, see you at 1:30. Can you make it sooner, like at 1? And we had set it up for 1:30, but we made some arrangements, and we showed up a few minutes before 1, actually about 14 minutes. And you know why? Because I've been on, Vince Lombardi has Vince Lombardi time. He told his players, and he's told everybody, you show up 15 minutes before the appointment, and then I'll appreciate, because when you come to work, if you come to work a few minutes before, you get your coat put on, you get your coffee, you get set, and you're ready to go to work. That's Lombardi time. And that's why I said, well, Mary said, well, what are we going to do? I said, well, we'll get down there, get set, get ready. And you big smile as we walked in the door. Yeah,
Hey, Dave. Hey, Mary.
One thing, not to boast, but I feel it was something really important to me, is we wanted both our grandsons to work in our store.
yeah.
We wanted that
Oh, that's
opportunity to show them
Yeah.
the ins and outs of a business.
We wanted to
And-
teach them how to work.
That's
Well,
You
That's a
don't
big
want to
deal.
say that. Anyways.
no.
yeah.
He says that kind of stuff all the time.
My son worked with my dad, and he realized that my dad didn't drink water or take a break. Like, what are we doing? Well, we're working.
we're working.
But we had, when the culinary arts, we've always had a young person, 15 and a
in
half.
high school, yeah.
Yeah, work for us. But in the, when they remodeled the high school and they put the culinary arts
Yeah.
program in
Yeah,
there,
that's huge.
Nancy Wilmot came in and said she was looking for things to purchase and for the facility. Anyways, we got to be friends, and they actually ended up ordering a lot of things for the
That's nice.
class from us. But I said, I want each summer, and if they can stay 2 summers, that'd be great, or part-time throughout the year. A student that you feel would really benefit, is into the culinary part, come work for us. So we had,
Quite a few
I think
students.
over the years, we had 19 kids
That's
come
awesome.
through.
That's
wow.
awesome.
And they learned our whole.
Might have changed
and
their whole
the-
life.
Oh,
One of those kids still working there, Celeste. She's back.
Celeste's there.
Oh.
Yeah, she left and came back. But to
Nice young lady. Yeah.
impart that, and that's where I know it takes a lot of time and patience, but that changes one person who can change or makes a great employee for someone else.
Yeah.
Not that we're great, but I think we did a good job.
Of course,
And I just feel that's the contribution.
giving
If you
back.
have your own business,
Yeah.
in giving back to the community.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a boy come in, so I mean,
It's good. Yeah.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and I remember my first mentor. I was 19 when I got a real estate license. Was Steve Still in Wenatchee, and
Oh wow.
some of those same lessons are applying.
Yeah.
And he helped me, and and Bernice McCauley.
Oh gosh,
I mean,
Bernice.
she walked in. She made me buy a real estate company. I didn't have a lot of choice. She said, "You're going to buy the building. You're going to buy this." And this. I'm like, okay, whatever.
That sounds like
Yeah,
Bernice.
I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah, she got me involved in, Vicky,
She was amazing.
Vicky and Bernice got me involved in city council, and I got to know Jerry Eisenhart pretty well. And but
Another
you
guest.
remember when Walmart came to town?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the town was all worked
Yeah.
up about it.
Yeah.
And we knew they sold kitchen gadgets and things, and so we went up to Walmart and checked out what they had, and we got rid of all the cheaper things and brought in high-end product in our store. But it turned out that Aaron, the general manager up there, he was in Rotary. I got to know him a little bit. And next thing I know, we had people come in our store. I said, "Oh, Walmart sent us down." "Oh, they did?" "Well," they said, "we don't have an apple slicer peeler, and the store down in Chelan does." He told his employees, "Well, if they can't find it, send them down to the kitchen store." But when we were on city council, and that was going on, one of my requests was, Walmart, this before I knew Aaron, one of the things I think should be done is some signs should be put out as people are coming in and out of Walmart. They see, be sure to visit downtown historic Chelan, their restaurants and gift shops.
Good
Those
for you.
signs are up there.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that on another podcast where change, we were talking more in just in general, change is inevitable. Growth,
Yeah.
kind of inevitable. And so often we want to just pick out, and this is partly why we do the podcast, so people can get to know each other's story. So if you know a little bit more, like you got to know Aaron at Walmart,
Yeah.
you get to know a little bit more familiarity, you have a little less judgment, a little more empathy, and a little
Yeah.
more understanding. Because now you have maybe some overlap, commonality that can be mutually beneficial. And I said, yeah, Walmart was like, you would have thought the town was going to die, for a while there. And then a lot of people got jobs. And then those people got jobs, go to your store. And then all of a sudden they can feed their families and they don't have to leave town that they grew up in. They have insurance.
And the tax revenue comes back to town.
Yeah, so
all those folks that went to Walmart anyway down either Omak or Wenatchee now stayed in town, spent their money here, and that revenue comes to the city. You know, it's just a win-win all the way around.
Yeah, we talked about the Lookout. It's not everybody's favorite cup of tea, but that Lookout donated the land for the community center. That has just a lot of things that I've learned about recently in the last month or two. But 500 kids now are in the Boys and Girls Club and the AE programs.
500.
That's awesome.
And
I hadn't heard
they
about
just
that.
barely opened, just not that long ago.
Yeah, they're doing a matching funds. This couple walked in. They had needed more money to finish the gym, and Brooke Isaac was in my grade in Manson, K through 12, right? She's the president, and they donated $1 million, I think. And then another couple came in, and they had a house here, but they don't spend a lot of time here. Young couple, entrepreneurs, sold
But
business.
they just have a second home here, and they just, like most people, have a little vacation home.
And so I guess they called Brooke and said, "Hey, can we get a tour?" Just randomly. This is recently, and they said, "Sure." And I guess Brooke gave them a tour, and a little while longer, they called back and said, "How much do you need to finish that gym?" And they go, "Well, it's $4 million." They go, "Okay, we'll give you that."
Oh,
Really?
And then they said,
awesome.
and then I see more things. As the story was told to me, I see more things that we need to do. So before the end of this year, we'll give you another $2 million of matching funds. So whatever you bring in, we'll get up to $2 million. So we'll give you $6 million. So it's like, wow, all that started.
Awesome.
Lookout, one thing. Maybe
Yeah.
not everybody loves everything about it, but the tax base to Lookout is amazing.
And
Helps.
jobs, right?
And
They got
a lot of jobs. And then they donated the land. The land all of a sudden attracted a vision of people that worked on it 6 or 7 years that I was embarrassed that I didn't know all this about my friends that are doing this.
Yeah.
And so I got more informed, and I sent some people down there, and then they had a gala. That's where I learned about it. And they've raised, I think, about $800,000 in the last month and 6 weeks.
Last 6 weeks.
So then that matches with another $800,000 up to $2 million. So
But they still have 6 weeks left to
Yeah,
go,
so
so they
that's
might
one-
get up to $1 million.
Yeah, so it just shows you that, like, not everybody has to love everything about everything.
Right.
We can overlap, though, and have commonality that we can agree on.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of this for us, and why I appreciate the guests opening up and showing up like yourselves, because all these stories in small town America help people get to know each other and not of each other.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that helps get along a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just the human connection.
We can agree to disagree on something.
Yeah.
That's right.
But that's okay too.
Yeah, that human connection, and there's just a single thread sometimes that goes through that just makes everything work.
Yeah. So
It's so cool.
well, it's been fun, guys.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time.
Well, we didn't break the camera, but we.
Nope, you didn't. You guys are awesome. You guys look like like I said, you're ready to go open 7 more businesses right now. I can see it in your eyes. You better keep traveling, right? You guys can't be idle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we're heavy gardeners.
Oh, yeah, we're into it.
Heavy.
Well,
Oh, great. Well, you can come to my house and help me garden next year because I'm getting 3 raised garden beds, and that's my goal is to figure out how to do that.
That's good. Start small and
And then branch out.
well, we have to be gardeners because we are on the farmer's market.
Yeah, you gotta get those vegetables.
All
All right.
then, well,
Thanks.
thank
Thanks
you.
again, guys.
Thanks.
Thank
All right,
you.
we're signing off from Small Towns Unscripted.